You need a project if you ever want to get anything done. You can't just say to yourself, I want to get better at art, or I want to get better at photography. These are all just open-ended things that will end in you not getting anything done. So you need a project, and it's not just to give you structure and help you actually figure out when and where you're going to do things, but also because it's just more satisfying and more motivating that way. But why am I suddenly motivated to get back into a project? Well, let me tell you a story about a phone call I got just a few weeks ago from Tony. Now, if you've seen me before on other channels, you may remember Doki Doki Drawing, a channel I was on for, I don't know, it was like 3, maybe 4 years that I was with that channel. But there was one project that we never really successfully completed, and that was the Comitia project. So the two of us were thinking we would go to Comitia and actually sell comics at a Japanese comic event. That's what Comitia is. But the main difference between Comitia and other events in Japan is that this is only for independent original work, things that you've made up yourself, as opposed to the more popular event that you've probably heard of before, Comiket. I think there are some creators there making original stuff, but the main thing about Comiket, I think the culture behind it, is it was a place for people to make derivative works, for people to draw their favorite characters that were already existing from IPs that, weren't completely vehemently against it. We're going to avoid all of that because Comitia is about independent original works. So there's no trouble with other publishers and using their IP. The reason I want to do this is because Tony gave me a phone call a few weeks ago and he said, hey, you talked to me about rekindling this Comitia project thing. I think I'm ready to do it. And I was so excited because Tony is a very, very busy creator. So when he called me and said, hey, I think I'd like to do Comitia and do it properly, I was so excited. Now, the reason personally I feel like this is an important step for me is because of this channel. This is Focused Lines, my sub channel, but then again, it might actually become my main channel, but it's my sub channel currently to my other channel, which is Nihongo Gamer, where I usually do video game controller reviews, gameplay videos. So really these two channels are doing opposite things. And on this channel, I really like the idea of showing my own creative output and trying to make it as entertaining and interesting for use as video content, because that's the point. And I felt like this is a great opportunity, not just to make some great, interesting content for you, showing you what it's like to try and sell a comic or try and sell some sort of art-related product in Japan, but also because for me, I want to get back into drawing. I actually went through so many phases in my life where I thought, this is it. I've found music and I thought, this is it. I'm going to play the drums for the rest of my life. Then I found music composition. I was like, I'm going to write other people's music that they can play. In the end, didn't quite happen. Then I, got into YouTube and I was making video game reviews and talking about controllers and arcade sticks for Street Fighter. And although I'm doing it, I feel like I never really lost my desire to draw a lot of stuff. I really just want to create stuff, especially characters that people can fall in love with. And that's what I really want to achieve with the Comitia project. Not just I want to make a comic. I've made comics before, and it's not like I sold them or they were super successful or anything, but I've been to the end of a comic. I know what it feels like to finish drawing a comic, manga, whatever it is you want to call it. And for me, what I really want to do is go further in and see whether I actually got it in me to complete a project. That's the first thing. But then overarching over the top of the can I complete the project is, can I make things that people can love? Now, to put it in more specific terms, with the Comitia projects, you do have to set up a table and you've got to sell something. Or maybe if you don't sell something, you've got to show something. You can't just sit at the table. Well, I guess you could, but what would be the point of that? So what I really want to do is get my name out there with something that I've created. Whether I sell it or not is not important. Whether I make a profit or not is not important. I just want to put something out there and see if I can even get anyone interested in looking at it. And that's a big step for any creator who doesn't usually sell things or put their work out there. I just want to put something on a table and see if I can catch the eyes of people who have no idea who I am. The main point of this will just be, can I put a picture of a character maybe I'll make a keychain or maybe a collection of illustrations. Can I put it on the table and can I get people interested? If they want to pick it up for free, that's great. If they want to pay money for it, that's even better. Then I can support myself and justify doing it again. I just want to know if I can actually do it. And just trying to get better at art has not worked. I have tried this for years. I've watched tutorials. I've made videos on Doki Doki Drawing. They've been through so many phases where it's like, okay, I made the video, or I drew the thing, or it's part of this thing for a little while. But it's like, I never finished the project. You know, I think it's unfair. I'm being, this happens. I think all artists probably do this. And I did actually finish, I think it was like an 8 or 9 page manga. And I was proud of doing that. And that was a big project. Maybe I could just sell that. Obviously, if I just sell something that I've already made, that kind of undermines the whole goal of this, which is to, you know, get me drawing again and to create some characters that people love. But I do have a starting point, and I know that from experience walking around Comitia, people sell their new stuff, but they also have their back catalog. Usually I feel like the culture with Comitia or Comiket tends to be, I've had a lot of stuff out, but I'm here today to sell you the newest episode, the newest content. And if you come to visit, I'll also have stock of some of my old stuff if you're interested. And especially people who've never heard of these creators. A lot of people are just walking down these aisles, just seeing if there's anything that catches their interest. It's fun, and I know how it feels to be a fan. When I discover something that I can love, I'm like, what? That's amazing. It's a little mushroom with a face on it. I've got to have more of this. And I know that you also know how that feels. So capture that feeling, get involved in a project. The question is, will I actually follow through and complete this project? History says no. We've rebooted this project at least 2 or 3 times on the Doki Doki channel. And trying to do it again, I'm really scared. I have that massive fear of failure that I'm going to prove to myself that I really cannot do it. And that's one of the main things that gets in your way when you're trying to motivate yourself to either improve at something, which is like an infinite game, or to complete a project, which is a finite game. That fear of failure that you might, try it and then realize that, either you weren't good enough, you didn't have the resolve to get to the end of it, or you did get to the end of it and people didn't like it. The reward of just proving to myself that I can finish it should be enough to overcome these fears. The question is, will I? What I will be using, just to finish off this video, is actually, I just wanted to show you, I've been using my iPad Pro M4 as a slideshow. But if you haven't seen it before, this is my iPad Pro. It is the M4. I bought this in 2024. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I use it a lot, but not for drawing. If you have a lot of hobbies and you have a lot of dreams and aspirations, you often buy products and, that make it easier to do those things, but they serve as reminders. They sit on your shelves looking at you like, hey, you never used me to make that video. You never used me to draw that thing. This is the iPad that I plan to use for drawing my characters, at least the sketches. But I do have one more tool I want to share with you, and it's this. It's my Mobile Studio Pro, which I bought in, I think, 2017. This is a 13-inch Mobile Studio Pro. They also made a 16-inch, and honestly, I kind of regret not buying that one because 13-inch at 16 by 9, it just doesn't feel like it's got enough vertical space to draw on. These are the 2 tools that I own and I will be using, and I will not be forcing myself to do things digitally if I can do them analog. I think it's going to be important to get back in touch with using just pencil on paper to sketch out a rough idea. Since the Mobile Studio Pro is from 2017, the Pro Pen 2, which is a phenomenal little tool, I absolutely love this, it has become a little bit sticky. When I checked out on the Wacom official website, they did have a link to this. It says Drawing Soul, but it doesn't look like it's actually made by Wacom. It says directed by Wacom. Pull off the old grip. Just gonna slide this new cover from Drawing Soul. Spin it around. Oh, beautiful! So the thing about the original one, it's quite squishy. My initial review of Drawing Soul is that it feels kind of like harder plastic or harder rubber, so it doesn't really deform when you squish it. It's not as squishy. At least it is less sticky. So I hope the message you take away from this today is you need a project, and if you do stick with it, hopefully you can overcome your fear of failure, or even your fear of success. Having a project helps you sweep away all of the things that get in your way. You're still going to have to deal with them, but instead of them becoming these massive monsters in your mind, like, oh, I can't do this because of this, or I can't do this because of this. If you've got a project comes with deadlines, it comes with goals, it comes with actual like understanding of what it is you're trying to achieve. The project is what reminds you what it is you need to do and why you're doing it and why it's going to feel so satisfying when you complete the project. Make a project, get to the end of it, and experience the satisfaction of finishing it. Something that I have never succeeded in with the Comitia project. But this time, it will be different. I'm moderately sure. We will see in the future whether any of this pans out. Anyway, I've been Nihongo Gamer. This is Focused Lines. Do subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.